What is going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 4 of the Cool Your Jets podcast. I am your salty host, Dzuve. It is Sunday, April 5th. Happy Easter, everybody. First and foremost, I hope everybody had a wonderful time celebrating. And what a turn of events it's been the past 48 hours since the last episode. So, it's tough. It's been a tough Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I'll tell you that much. We had the Giants losing the next 3 games against the Mets, Sharks dropping a tough game against Nashville, and yes, of course, we had the Lakers news. When I was recording Friday, I was uncertain of the Luka news. Obviously, he had the hamstring injury, which I knew. We didn't know the severity of it. I was thinking that it was possibly going to be, obviously, at least a week until the Golden State game. They said, nope, you're done for the rest of the season. Now, there's only 5 games left in the regular season, so that's not a crazy thing to just say, hey, we're going to shut them down. They've already clinched, so that was understood. It was yesterday's news that was even more surprising, where Austin Reeves got an injury that I've never heard of before. I'm glad in simple terms they just said it was an oblique injury. But he is also out for the rest of the season. And as it stands right now, the Lakers are playing the Dallas Mavericks, where they are losing in the fourth quarter. So not good, but his evaluation will be in 4 to 6 weeks. So he's pretty much done for the entirety of the season. So sad day. It's a sad day. It's a bad day. It's a rough day. But at the same time, I'm not going to let sports get me down, as last episode had a ton of positivity going through. We had so many people inspired and so many people reaching out to me on the side as far as what the episode did, and having Jaws' story being shared was the main goal of mine, and having his awareness to what he's going to be doing next year and his run for cancer research and the foundation that he's going to be raising. All that was more the positive that I truly will take away from that episode going into it. I just now know I jinxed my team. All right, hand up. That's on me. I knew better, and I will be better going forward. So this is the toughest part of the podcast, and doing content creation on teams that suck. It is something, it's a hiccup, it's a speed bump. We're going to power through it. There is some positivity that I have found in taking the next steps with each team going forward that I will try to relate and calm myself and cool my own jets, if you will. So again, within this episode, I'm going to be talking about the rough 48 hours with all the different teams, not the Atlanta Falcons. They haven't disappointed me as of yet, which is always reassuring. But the direction of the rest of the week, I will be recording Wednesday and dropping the episode Thursday. I do have my family in town visiting for this upcoming weekend, so I will not be recording next Sunday, as I will be spending time with them. I will, however, record one episode next week, as I will also be going to a bachelor party in good old Nashville, Tennessee, which is ironic considering what Nashville just did to the Sharks. But all in all, there will be a few more episodes released in the next coming week, and then we'll get back to your regular scheduled program. So with that being said, again, lovely sponsor coming through with the old nobody trick. But no, okay, we're going to be moving on now. We're just going to get through the episode, going to get my thoughts, my feelings, and the positive takes I will be taking away from all of that. So we will be starting with the Lakers news. Yes. Is it overreaction? Lakers season's done? No, it's not an overreaction. Luka being out was huge because what he's been able to do for this team the entire year, let alone what he did for the month of March, propelled us to be the number 3 seed. So with him being completely done, yes, there's a possibility he can come back for playoffs. I don't see now with AR-15 being out how much this team is really going to be able to make noise in the postseason. What's even worse is because of LeBron's possible last year in the NBA, but more than likely last season with the Lakers, if he does decide to come back for the following year. Wanted to see him make at least one more playoff push, but again, as I mentioned in the last episode, there's always those injuries that happen right before we go into postseason play. This just has happened to be with 2 of our 3 best players. So that's always tough to see. Again, they got the belt to ass whooping against Oklahoma City, and they are currently losing to the Dallas Mavericks, who are one of the worst teams in the NBA and in full tank mode. So What does that mean? After this Dallas game, there's going to be about 4 games left in the NBA regular season. It is a tight race in the West. Obviously, they have clinched a playoff spot, but it will be interesting to see where they finish. If they can finish in the 3 spot, that would be great because it still gives them home court advantage. If they finish in the 4 seed, they can still get home court advantage. Anything outside their road to a championship is going to be even more difficult than it already is. So I hope a speedy recovery for both of them involved, especially just because of the fact that, again, they are just the biggest players on our team, but they're just great teammates. When Luka got hurt in the Oklahoma City game, there's a video of a fan just chirping Luka, talking some shit, and Austin Reeves went ahead and backed him up. He defended Luka, talking back to the fan, saying just have some more respect, show some class. And a lot of NBA players do that with fans. They're not afraid to go ahead and chirp back at them or get them kicked out for that matter. So for him to have Luka's back is always just a testament to how the team feels about Luka, how the team respects Luka, and that they're going to go to war for him. And when he's down, they're going to pick him up in any way possible. You saw Vanderbilt go ahead and standing in front of a camera as Luka's trying to walk off the court to block the camera from showing any more of the visible hurt and pain that Luka had in his face. As you know, he was definitely hurting pretty bad. And the fact that he was able to kind of just try to do his due diligence to make sure that he can release some of that stress, some of that anxiety from him completely getting plastered all over the internet with some memes. And again, there's some photos out there that show him pretty banged up and some candid shots of his injury. But as I showed in the beginning of this podcast, but that just kind of just overall just encompasses what this team has been about. They've fought, they've clawed, they've grit, but now is it almost too much for them to overcome? We will see when it comes playoff time. It is 7-game series, but within those 7-game series, you find out pretty quickly, pretty damn quick how that's going to go and what they can overcome, what adjustments can be made. JJ Redick's going to have the time of his life trying to get out of this first round this time and win a playoff game for that matter and not be swept. So will be interesting to see how they go forward. My faith isn't as strong, but again, I've seen crazier things happen. Hopefully they maybe, depending on the matchup, can get out of the first round, and then they can go ahead and have them come back for the second round and more. But as my optimistic self is, those chances are not as likely. I would not be going to Vegas with that money and betting on them to do so, as their odds quickly have turned from what they were prior to winning the NBA season to what it is now. So again, prayers to both of them, wishing them both a speedy recovery. We'll see what the rest of the regular season has in store and where they end up finishing up. But very sad day, very bad day. As soon as I released the episode, by the way, when I uploaded it, is when the ESPN notification came for Luka. And you saw Reeves kind of struggling in Oklahoma City. He felt like something was bothering him. We didn't know the full extent of it. But then Saturday comes along, and yeah, I've never heard of the injury he had. I'm just glad that they can explain it in a more clear way, as far as it's just an oblique injury. But it's a grade 2 strain oblique injury. So thanks for putting in simple terms for people like me who were not well equipped to that. So again, that's tough, man. That's tough. Texting a buddy of mine on the side again. We were just like, this cannot happen again, dude. But it is. We're in our bed, we're laying in it, and we're rolling. So let's see if 41-year-old LeBron James has enough in the tank to carry the first round playoff matchup, regardless of where they're seated. But that's that Lakers news, and we're moving on to the San Francisco Giants. Hand up. Mostly this is on me. It's mostly on me. I'm going to take the fault for this. Before I get into the debacle of the last 3 games of Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I will say, as frustrated as I've been watching this team play, the first 4 series that they will have played to start the season, they will have played 4 teams that are in the top 7 payroll of the MLB. The Yankees, the Mets, the Padres, the Phillies. All 4 of those teams are in the top 7 payroll, with the Mets being 2, Yankees 3, Phillies 4, San Diego 7. Now, the Giants fans have been wanting the Giants to spend money for as long as we've been fans. They just don't do it. They treat themselves like a fan base that's a small market team when they have big market money. They're going to be running into 4 juggernauts. We'll see how this Phillies series goes starting tomorrow when this episode drops. So again, might be more bad luck as I'm trying to be positive and they completely get routed. But the Giants have scored 26 runs total to start the 10 games. They have been shut out in 30% of those games, and they have scored 3 runs or less in 80% of the games played. How much of that is on Tony V? You can make the argument, as he also got his first ejection of his professional career. That was ejection that was really just him trying to get some life in the boys. He was just going out there just to get ejected and just to start something. You can tell from everybody's face, like, you could tell from an outside perspective, he was just going out there to get ejected to just start something, which he got some props from good old Rafael Devers and others to kind of like thank Skip. But it shouldn't just be on him. And even though he's already been kind of under a huge microscope coming from college to the pros and disastrous start of the season, that much would say, I'm giving him still more of a benefit of the doubt, as I'm going to try to get this team more of the benefit of the doubt going forward. But it was good to see him at least go to bat for the boys and know that he's still going to at least fight for them, no matter even if it was a fight that he really didn't need to start with. It was better than what Bob Melvin did for all of last year. Matt Chapman got his 3rd error on the week. A guy who's supposed to be a platinum Gold Glove third baseman gets his 3rd error. Again, I mentioned in the previous episode, I think the throw to Schmidt in the 3rd game of the Padres game wasn't necessarily his fault, but at the same time, it went on him. So he's got 3 now. Devers played his first game at first base and not DH, missed another ball that turned from a 3-2 game to going where the wheels turned off in the 8th inning for the Giants. They completely cannot hit. Patrick Bailey got his 3rd hit of the year. Yay. But again, he's still batting 111 on the season with no life at the plate. People are wanting good old Daniel Susac now to start getting some reps. I think today would have been a good day to put Susac in just based on how the offense was the last 2 games, not scoring many runs at all. Like I said, they got shut out, and they only scored, let me just go ahead and check that again. Oh, yeah, they scored a grand whopping 3 runs on Friday. So they scored 3 runs in the 2 games. Really giving you guys the credit because I've been not factually correct on some of the last couple episodes. So I want to really make sure I dive in on this. They didn't score until the 6th inning. So again, that's roughly going into 15 innings of scoreless baseball until they got the 2 innings to take the lead. Momentum swinging. Webby got out of some jams. So we finally got some momentum going until the 8th fell off, where Keaton Wynn, who I was given a lot of praise for, did not have a good 8th inning outing, which led to them scoring 4 runs in the top of the 8th. So I guess, guys, I just should not give player props because, again, I was so high on Bader. He's 4 for 34 to start the year. I said previously Tyler Mahle was going to be a big addition for us because of how well he's pitched in non-hitter-friendly parks, and he has been pretty bad to start with. I gave a lot of credit to Luis Arias, who is the bright spot. Fans are still chirping Luis Arias and giving him a lot of shit when he is the least of the problems. So there's that. Just a lot of issues right now with this team altogether. It's tough to watch, no matter how much of a juggernaut they're going against. It's just tough to see the at-bats. It's tough to see the defense, which should be our strong suit as far as the people that should be good defensively, I would say, not performing up to their standard. Jung-Hoo Lee, I think his helmet's fallen off every swing that he's actually made. So he's had more helmets flying off his head rather than actual hits in the year. And as I gave him props in the San Diego series, did not have, again, a good New York series. So a lot of negative. But again, as I said before, I will take the lumps. I will take the rough start in the beginning of the season. Sorry if you guys can hear my dog. But I will take the lumps. Yeah, they're just as frustrated as me. Yep. I get it, guys. I get it. I'm sorry. I will take a rough start to the season and a great resurgence towards the end of the season rather than being hot in the beginning and completely choke at the end or choke in July and August, which they've done a lot of. So there's still a lot of baseball to be played. It is funny seeing Giants Twitter and how absolutely crazy they are going. They're going in on Tony V. They're going in on the team. They're going in on Patrick Bailey. They're going in on Bader. They're going in on Lee. They're going in on Chapman. Every single person is just getting roasted. And again, I besides Ryan Walker, with the people I've roasted, I can understand why they're frustrated. This fan base has waited a long time to go ahead and finally get some success, but we're a product of what we spent. We didn't go out and spend too much money in free agency. We could have got, like I said, Framber Valdez for pitching that I thought better value for what they got, sure. We didn't go out and get any more bats. We didn't go get like a Kyle Tucker. We didn't go get the Nico Horner, the Brendan Donovan in those trades, even though we got Luis Arias. So there's a lot of moves that they were in for that they didn't, which brings me to my next point of the irony of this Mets series. Now, the Mets went out and got a lot of people this offseason, a lot of which the Giants were in consideration for. Freddie Peralta, for one, which would have been another big ace. That was the biggest addition that if he was on the market that I truly wanted to get. I thought Freddie Peralta and think Freddie Peralta is one of the top young pitchers in the MLB. He is best friends with Willy Adames, too. So, again, if Willy Adames was the guy that we're going to be given the highest contract with and that we're going to be able to go ahead and put as our leader, why not go and get his best friend from Milwaukee and a pitcher who's a stud, who has a ton of potential, and to lock him up? Apparently, the asking price from the Brewers to us was too high, and the Mets went ahead and capitalized and got him. Okay, fair point. You miss out on that? Sure. Luis Roberts was less in talks for the Giants to get, but still another conversation in when Chicago was having him that we could have traded and had him in center field. He had a pretty decent series with some RBIs or some clutch hits. I would say he had more RBIs in the last 2 games than the Giants almost had in the last 3 games total. So Luis Roberts, again, had some frustration with Chicago. He had some injury issues he was dealing with. Maybe they were saying lack of heart. But again, Mets went out and got him. Bo Bichette, another guy who the Giants were very, quote-unquote, high on to go ahead and get. Had a rough couple series in the beginning of the year, completely balled out after the Thursday game where he was getting base hits, getting RBIs, getting extra base hits, and had more of his coming out party for the Mets, if you will. So those 3 guys were both top-level acquisitions that they were going to go ahead and get that they didn't. Mets got him, and the Mets mopped the floor with us. So the Giants are 1-6 at home, 1-6 against New York teams. So maybe it's just a bad luck on playing New York right now, and other teams we can have more success with. So again, my frustration just with every Giants fan, it's tough. I completely understand where they're coming from. I do think Daniel Susac needs to play tomorrow against the Phillies to start the series. They have Adrian Hauser. They're going to have Robbie Ray. They're going to have Molly going against the Phillies right now. So it will be interesting to see how they go ahead and, again, the pitching that's been struggling, how the offense does. We're going to see all that. Again, it's another home series. We got to get some more home wins. We got to get the fans on board. There was some hot mics from some fans, which was pretty funny to hear as the frustration going when they're talking about this is the New York B team. How are you getting shut out? And there's you're making Clay Holmes look like Paul Skeens comments that were very loud on the broadcast. So Giants fans they're over it. It's 10 games in. We're overreacting like everybody else. So, but if anything with this podcast that I'm kind of doing, it literally is, let's cool your jets, everybody. It's a very long season. It's a very tough season. That's going to be a grind for all teams involved. We're going to have our ups and downs. As frustrated as I've been watching it and as frustrated as everybody's been watching it, we are going against really tough teams. Our expectation is to go ahead and be playoffs as well. But again, only time will tell as the rest of the season rolls on. So the Phillies series is going to be a true testament to hopefully get 3 games, get us at least 4-6 to start the year at home would be nice, but we'll see. So let's have some faith. Let's be patient. Let's see if this goes the way we want it to go. If not, it's going to be a really fun trade deadline where I can see Molly going. I can see Hauser going. I can see Bader going. Wouldn't surprise me if Ramos goes. Wouldn't surprise me if Luis Arias goes because he's on a 1-year deal. Everybody and anybody will be shopped at the trade deadline if this team is not at least showing signs of fight and showing signs of a push. They will not be buyers at the deadline. They will be sellers at this rate. But again, it is April 5th. It's a wonderful Easter Sunday. I'm not going to let this completely get me down as the expectations that I have for this team are greater than everybody. So again, be patient. I'm being patient. I have to take my own medicine with this team as I watch them throughout the entirety of my life. But let's just see how this plays out for the next couple months, and then we can fully get this assumptions. And who knows, maybe by next episode, after the Philly series, I might have a different tune. But for right now, I'm really trying to be more on the positive side than I've been in years past, and we'll see. Because up until this particular episode, from last Sunday to Friday, the Giants won 2 out of 3 against the Padres, with winning that first game against the Mets, as I stated. So they were 3-1. Okay. The Lakers, up until Friday, they beat the Wizards, they beat the Cavs, and they lost to the Thunder. So that's another 2-1 right there, which is a grand whopping total so far of 5-2. So that's a good start. The Sharks, which we will get into next, won 4 straight, but they were 3 games from that Sunday till Friday. So that makes us 8-2. And then I'm counting the Falcons uniforms as a win. So I was 9-2 from a fan perspective of my teams from a Sunday through a Friday. I was riding high, and then crash and burn. You got to take the ups and the downs with the season itself, which it's a very long season for all sports, so we will see it, how this plays out. Moving on to the San Jose Sharks, as they lost again 6-3 to Nashville. It's the second time they've lost 6-3 to Nashville. As the most recent game they played in Nashville, they lost 6-3, which was way more of an ass whooping of a game that score indicates correctly, whereas this score didn't really indicate how the game went. It was 3-0 in the first period for the Sharks, being down. 2 of them they gave up were power play goals, so they were down very quickly. It was a chippy game. It was a game where everybody was getting active, fighting, chirping. Puck was being stopped. Guys were going at it, giving it a little extra push. It definitely felt like a playoff atmosphere type of game. So, again, the Sharks haven't been in the postseason in a very long time. This was their first test of what a playoff game or a playoff series will be about. Why do I say how big this was? Is because I wanted to see some fight, wanted to see some grit, which they were able to do in the second period. They gave up no goals. We had William Eklund make one of the more filthiest passes I've seen all season to Leddy, who got his first goal on the season, which was incredible to see altogether. But at the same time, Eklund has made 2 of the best plays out of all of the NHL all year. He had a goal against Boston where it ricocheted off the goalie, and then he baseball batted it in as he's falling down, which was an incredible play. And then he had a disgusting pass to Leddy where it went between his legs. Dime Nation Party Leddy, Operation Top Shelf. So that was cool. We had Celebrini get a goal right before the second period was going to be ending too, which is normally the opposite, where Sharks give up those late goals. Wenberg, going into the third period, made a disgusting play where he just went coast to coast and then dimed it to tie it up. So all the momentum was swinging in the Sharks' favor. We thought we were going to pull it out. We had every opportunity. Momentum was right in our way. And Ryan O'Reilly gets a goal. It kind of sucks the life out a bit. But the Sharks still had plenty of opportunities to go ahead and at least tie it up. Again, Eklund had a wide open one-timer that he just whiffed on. Was super unfortunate because we would have been able to tie the game. But this is where the wheels fell off for the Sharks. We were able to get a power play with a little less than 3 minutes left in the game. Had an opportunity to go ahead and get this tied up. I feel that Nashville fans were freaking out at that point, just being like, there's no way that we're going to be giving this up. But of course, the Sharks don't do him any favors. Will Smith, who I'm a huge fan of, and I'm happy to see him be a Shark. Hopefully he's a Shark for a very, very long time. But as a young player, made a terrible mistake in the offensive zone where he turned the puck over. They had a breakaway. Askarov makes a great play to save it. So it's like, whew, we got away with that one. But as we go back down and transition to our offensive zone, again, Celebrini had a one-timer where he whiffed on. And then, again, transition shorthanded. The Predators go ahead and get a shorthanded goal, which sealed the game. They got an empty netter towards the end of the game, but that shorthander really solidified their win. And it was just really tough to see from the boys' perspective how down they were, how they knew they let that slip away. But I think the most shocking part of the game itself was just how the Sharks continue to fight back, that they're not down, they're not out. There's still plenty of games left. I'm really confident that this team can still make that playoff push. The Sharks still play Chicago on Monday. They play Edmonton at home. They go to Anaheim and then back home to Vancouver for Saturday. So they pretty much are still going to be in the state of California for the next 4 games, which again, they get it rolling. They can still pick up some points. They can put themselves in that position. They're still right there for that last wild card spot. So even though they dropped it, Nashville was a tough game, I still have full faith and confidence in this team based on how they fought towards the end of the game that they can still go ahead. And I think that this was a great learning experience for them. They were riding a high. They kind of came back down to earth, if you will. And I think that they will be now taking this as a learning experience and be able to take that and go into these next 4 games that are going to be the biggest part of the whole series, because then they do go to Nashville one more time. They still have Chicago one more time, as I mentioned. They can get their lick back against Nashville in their building and possibly be a huge momentum swing too. So this team still has a lot of good things going for them. Askarov, again, was his first game against Nashville since he was traded. They had 2 goalies. They decided to go with Saros. Askarov decided, let me see what I can do. Did not have the game that he wanted to. He was asked about it in the post-game conference. He didn't really have any good comments, which is understood. He's still a really young goalie. It was an emotional game for him. I don't blame him for the response he had. The problem I had was our lovely analyst, Drew, kind of was blaming him on that shorthanded power play goal that we had at the end of the game where they ended up getting that 5-3. Drew was kind of blaming him, saying that's a goal that he has to save. That's a shot that he has to save. Yes, I agree, but at the same time, why aren't you more upset with the defense that they led 2 breakaways on a power play and bad turnover by Smitty, 2 whiffs? Like, I wouldn't fully put him on that again, especially with the goal he's coming back from injury. This is his 3rd game really playing since then. So he has the goal against numbers are really high for him since he's been back for injury. Sure, I'd put probably about maybe 40% of that on him, but again, 60% of that I would probably definitely put on the defense and putting him in bad positions for one, letting up a ton of penalties especially in the first period. There's been a ton of penalties in the first period that the Sharks have given up and given the other team plenty of opportunities to go with. So again, cooling my own jets. I still have faith. This is a whole new thing for me because if I probably wasn't doing this podcast and talking to you guys and using this as my therapy, if you will, I would be frustrated, cussing up a storm, which I still am on the side. As my dad put when talking about the Giants specifically, and they were getting their ass whooped, they were asking, how am I feeling? My mom and dad were asking me, what's going on with the Giants right now? And I just said, this is fucking pathetic. My dad, in his lovely sense of humor, said, pathetic would just suffice. So he's right. I will try to limit my cussing on this for everybody involved, but I also think that there's sometimes cussing needs to get the point across, people. So we will see how it goes. It was a tough 48 hours. I'm going to keep saying that. Tough 48 hours for all parties involved, but we will continue to thrive. We will continue to grind. We're going to continue to power through it. And I'm not running from the fade, people. I'm going to be there when we're high up, and I'm going to be there when we're down. No matter how difficult the downs are, I'm going to be there. And I'm going to talk to you guys about it, and I'm going to give you my thoughts, and I'm going to give you my opinions with it. So going forward, again, as I mentioned earlier in the episode, I'm going to be recording Wednesday to release Thursday. Nothing else will be for the rest of the week, so we're going to get one more episode for the rest of the week. And then going next week, I'm going to record again. I don't know the day yet that I'm going to be recording the following week. I do leave to Nashville for a bachelor party. I'm excited to celebrate one of my good friends in San Diego, and as he gets married in June. The boys are going to be celebrating. It's going to be some buddies I haven't seen in a bit, so I'm super excited. So the next 2 episodes will be released in this week and next week. Then we're going to get back to your regular scheduled program, and hopefully by then in these conversations we're going to have a lot more positive things to talk about, and we're going to have my good karma come my way, maybe. Or sometimes I guess if you expect good karma, really good karma's not coming your way. I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud here, people. But we will see how it goes. We're going to have the NFL draft here in a couple weeks too. So I'm going to dive deep into that when it comes closer to that time frame. Again, who I think the Falcons might be targeting. With big news that Kirk Cousins is going to the Raiders. What does that mean for them? Who knows? Is Mendoza still number one? Do the Raiders trade the draft pick? All that and more. So this is a shorter one than it's been in the last couple. Again, I did want to get at least this out there, so I'm not running from the disappointment that it's been for the last couple days here. So again, if you haven't already, please go check out the previous episodes. Go give my boy Jaws a follow. Spread some love, spread some positivity, more cool your jets, if you will, for all the Giants fans out there, because again, it's a long season. The struggles are there. I understand that. We can't be our own enemy, and they already have enough as it is, so let's make sure that we can at least try to bring the boys together and get this thing rolling. So other than that, I do hope you guys enjoyed your Easter. I hope you enjoyed the rest of your week. We'll talk again soon. Appreciate you guys. Take care.